Hello everybody, Anne-Marie Orick here, and welcome to Knowing the Secrets of How to Develop an Irresistible Social Recruitment Strategy and Attract Top Talent Effortlessly. I mean, that's the aim really, isn't it? Now, this is part 4 of my training series, which was titled Turning the Tables on Talent Scarcity. And it is a 3-part video series plus today's live masterclass. And in part 1, 2, and 3, we covered off part 1 was actually based on the concept of the scale of trust and the scale of readiness to move, and how they differ between passive and active candidates mainly, but also they can differ from candidate to candidate. And, you know, some scale of combinations here can be detrimental to your recruitment results. So we covered that off in video 1. In video 2, we covered off the 5 key elements of influence. Now, these elements you can apply to your recruitment marketing to gain greater attention from the best candidates. And it's about putting structure into your content and having these elements overlapping so you have much more powerful influence and effect. Now, whether you are joining me on the journey with the first training sessions, or you are jumping in right now for this live event, I want to welcome you, and I'm honoured that you are spending your valuable time with me today and with your peers here taking action also. In this masterclass, what you'll be learning is how to give your organisation an unfair advantage through the key system and framework of my social recruitment branding blueprint that helps you create an online recruitment marketing strategy that effectively attracts the right talent you need. But you know what the other cool thing is? What you're really also doing is giving yourself the unfair advantage when it comes to your career with this knowledge. You know, social recruitment's a relatively new approach and tactic. It's only been around for the last 3 to 5 years, but more in intensity in the last year or so, and it's gaining momentum significantly. So organisations are looking for HR people that have this knowledge and expertise. You also get today the ebook, The 7 Principles to a Magnetic Social Recruitment Strategy. So that's a resource that you can know the principles that are essential for underpinning a successful social recruitment branding strategy. And it'll be available to you as we get into those. And I'm going to choose one principle that I think it's hard to pick out one, but I think it's the most critical. Okay, so mainly today, what we'll be doing is going deep on the most core and critical elements of a social recruitment branding strategy today, and that is is content. Okay, I'll be taking you through the 7 key steps of creating contagious social recruitment content that you'll be able to apply to your content approach immediately after this masterclass. In addition, for those who stay with us to the end today, will receive the Ultimate Social Recruitment Contagious Content Planner Tool as a bonus gift, and just a little thank you from me for attending the masterclass. So if you get nothing else out of this training today, this resource alone makes creating an endless source of the right mix of employer branding content really easy. So hang in there with that. With me for that at the end. Okay, so you're in the right place today. If you are in HR, or you're responsible for talent acquisition within your organisation, and you want to develop the sophistication of your recruitment strategy and create transformational results, and I mean really kick it out of the park in 2015. And really get your leadership to sit up and notice and experience the great results delivered by you and delivered by you and your team. You may be like I was when I was, in my previous life as an HR director, and I just knew I had so much to offer my organisation, but I was struggling. I was really struggling with finding a way to get great talent, and I just needed to find that one catalyst, that breakthrough that led to astounding turnaround and results. So that might be what you're after today. Perhaps you're already on the path with developing your social recruitment branding, but you are struggling with the results, or you might be struggling to get stakeholder buy-in. Maybe you're just not sure how to pull it all together into an effective system that is long-term sustainable. Or you just want to know, well, hey, am I doing this right? And you may be, but there might be little things that you can tweak that you will learn today that can make a difference. So you could be in a place where you say, well, look, Anne-Marie, we already have tons of candidates who apply. Scarcity is not our issue. We're actually overwhelmed, but we still actually can't get the good quality that we need, So if that is the case, well, I'm grateful you have found your way here, because there are just some simple things that you're going to learn that you can immediately apply that can just create that difference for you. So what I'm about to show you today is the #1 way that you can expand your reach and awareness and gain a lot more quality candidates. And the aim here is to slash your recruitment fees significantly also, and deliver candidates that your hiring managers, will be amazed with. So how do I know this? Well, in a similar way, I had to make this work for myself with my business, Corporate Canary HR Consulting. And like so many companies who struggle with becoming known to the best candidates, I've too been on that journey of creating greater awareness and putting into place the key principles and strategies that helped me create the successful business and profile that I have. Years ago, with a burning dream and a passion, I was in nowhere land, really, quite honestly. I had a big heart on my sleeve about wanting to change the HR world. But by developing a marketing mindset and creating innovative work, implementing the key principles of attraction, I created that unfair advantage for myself through winning big business. So I have clients in the UK, in the USA, Europe, and the Middle East. And, for almost 20 years now, I've been developing the sophistication of the recruitment approach and strategy for organisations, both large and small, that needed to attract better quality candidates. Over time, in a period of time, I attracted media attention for my work, and I was sought out by journalists for my thought leadership and expert comment, and that was nice, but they wanted to know how I was creating the success for my clients. And this then led, to being honoured to share the stage and to speak with other HR and talent acquisition thought leaders at, various industry events, and asked by a number of esteemed institutions to sit and advise on committees with the heads of industry, developing recruitment and skills policies for the future, for this country, actually. And in 2013, in early 2013, I was very honoured to be asked by LinkedIn to become one of the first 25% of LinkedIn publishers before, they opened the floodgates to the public in July 2014. And this created, a growing following for me on LinkedIn and on social media. And through that, I've been able to connect with all sorts of amazing opportunities and people, co-authorship offers, speaking events, and I'm a regular consultant writer too for some online sites. So all of that, it all comes from making the one move with a decision and a commitment to make the difference I wanted to make. And you are here to make the difference that you want to make. So this masterclass is for those of you who want to who want to join the elite. You know, those organisations who are mastering social media recruitment branding to their advantage right now. So I have, you know, in my objective today, in the next 60 minutes, I'm going to show you a new perspective and to open you up to a possibility of what you can create and transform. You know, so everything you learn today, you'll be able to immediately put into place and start on. And for those of you who do want to take it further to a greater level, don't worry, I'll show you exactly how you can do this as well. So the secret, you know, the secret to all of this, just cutting to the chase here, the secret to, you know, putting your organisation in the enviable position of having what I call top talent on tap is by creating an irresistible offer by using a reverse recruitment technique. Now, it's not just any offer, it's an irresistible offer that is targeted. So let me put this in a simple context that you may relate to. I'm just going to tell you a story now. So recently, my partner and I, we were walking down the street of one of Sydney's restaurant hotspots. Restaurants of all kinds on both sides of the street everywhere, okay? And outside one of the restaurants was a restaurant employee who was, they were like hawking their restaurant. And they were jumping into the path of every person walking down the road and sort of waving a brochure in their face and kind of pushing this brochure into their hands. Now, we had already eaten, so we were not interested and found it slightly annoying. And I'm sure you've probably experienced something similar to this, right? So you know what I mean. Well, a little further was another restaurant with an employee out the front who was simply just standing there, not jumping out or waving anything at us. But here is the difference. They had an enticing platter of taster dishes of the restaurant menu. And of course, we slowed down to take a look, and still that person said nothing. They just stood there, but they looked us in the eye and they gave us a bit of a smile. And then they looked down at their food on the plate, and then they looked up at us again. It was all, you know, almost quite seductive. But and still, without speaking to each other, you know, my partner and I stopped, and still that person said nothing. And then we said, "Can we try some?" And he said, "Absolutely, whatever you like." And we tasted a few of them, and after a brief discussion between us, we decided we'd go in. And we ordered coffees and even a small dessert to share. Now, as I said to you before, we had already eaten, and we didn't need to eat any more. In fact, we were actually on our way somewhere. But they created the hook, you know, they created a hook with free taster plates. And the taster plates created very rapid credibility, trust, and therefore influenced us because the offer was so irresistible, but it was subtle. You know, so we made time and made room in our stomachs in order to create and enjoy that experience of the restaurant. So can you see how the reverse recruitment technique parallels with this story? This tactic is known as pull marketing. It's when you don't have to work hard chasing down talent, or in this story, it's customers. The second restaurant pulled us in with what I call that elegant move. The first restaurant were pushing themselves on us. So it is the strategy of creating subtle, almost subliminal, irresistible offers to top quality candidates through your social media content to inspire them to say yes to your offer, you know, to say yes to themselves on the spot and take action towards your organisation, you know, to take action wherever you maneuver that action to be. It may be to look at more content, it may be to apply, you know. So when I say offer, I don't mean job offer here. The irresistible offer is what you uniquely provide in terms of the experience of working for you that is better than where they are now. So in other terms, it's your, as we know, the term employer branding. So to help you start thinking with a marketing mindset, I'm going to give you a little formula now that will articulate what it is you need to focus on with your social recruitment branding. Okay, so the formula here is the offer equals the outcome plus service delivery. So the outcome is what they experience, or the ultimate outcome they get from working with you. And you should be focusing 90% of your content and marketing on that, what that outcome is. The service delivery, which is a marketing term, is how they get it. So it is through the job that they get it, and it's through the income they earn or the training you deliver to them. That's your service, in inverted commas, to the employees. But here's the thing, HR often gets it the wrong way around. We tend to market the service delivery part as the outcome. We bang on 90% about salaries and the job structure and the duties, the location, parking, whether there's parking or not, whether it's near a train station or whatever. But that's not the outcome that is in the hearts and the minds of the top quality candidates. Once those, what I call hygiene, or what we all, a lot of common terms, hygienic factors are taken care of, that falls into the background noise, and they're still seeking that outcome. So in my upcoming program, we solidify how to construct the irresistible offer based on the strong outcomes with a lesser focus on service delivery. It's kind of like when you buy a package holiday, for example. You don't want to know the make and model of the plane you're going on, or the seat configuration size. You are more focused on the outcome, whatever it is. It might be fun or relaxation, whatever it is for you. But in HR, we do a mediocre to almost zero job of being marketing minded. But it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Traditionally, you've been taught to be like the first restaurant I told you about. Now, I'm not saying that you totally throw out the traditional approach. What I am saying is that it's become less effective over time. Even for the good quality active candidates, they're demanding more information. Okay, so now I've given you the theory behind all of this new reverse recruitment strategy. We want to move on now, and there's 3 parts to today's training. The first part, I'm going to quickly walk you through an overview of the HR social recruitment blueprint. And the second part, I'm going to show you the 7 steps to creating contagious social recruitment content. And finally, in part 3 today, I'll be showing you the steps, and it's the formula to creating an irresistible social recruitment branding strategy. How to realise and pull together the blueprint into a system that you can execute within your organisation. Okay. So let's dive in now. And now is a good time to actually grab your Know the Secrets workbook again and to follow and make some notes as we go along the way. You should have access there in the panel there to the workbook, so you can, if you haven't downloaded that already. Okay. The enormous success that underpins many companies achieving top talent on tap is by having a solid system in place. And the HR social recruitment blueprint sits upon what I call the diamond of commitment. So if you see that, in that blueprint there, the purple diamond in the blueprint is the journey the candidate takes from being unaware to aware to become engaged with you and then committing to join you. You know, if you have a look there, each part of that journey slices through different social recruitment branding content of the circle there. And that is, you know, it's important that you have content that is relevant to the stage of the diamond that your candidates are actually on. You know, we typically are always focusing on an active candidate set. So many organisations don't have their online content organised in such a way that aligns to either that scale of trust or scale of readiness to move, which was covered off in video 1 of the series, or of this diamond of commitment. Now, I have spent a lot of time, believe me, assessing and reviewing recruitment branding content for our clients, and also just, you know, generally searching social media sites and platforms. And I have to say, it's an area that really struggles. Even some of the top name employers are doing some of the tactics and techniques really well, but they only have half of it in place, which is kind of letting them down. So when you are following a system and the steps you need to, you start to raise the quality of connectedness with your content. So that brings us to what I'm going to show you now, which is the 7 key steps to creating a contagious employer brand content. And it's a critical part of the blueprint. So if you are looking on the screen there to the right of the blueprint, you can see that there's a space there for the 7 key steps of the blueprint. Those other steps we go through in the program. Okay, just going to grab something to drink because my voice is getting coarse before we step into the first one. Okay, number 1 is this first step is a step that many organisations miss, and I'm going to explain to you why. And the first step is tone and personality of your content. So this is understanding or determining how you will consistently portray the organisation voice. Now, how a lot of organisations get it wrong here is by copying others. So they may see an inspiring piece of content and attempt to recreate it, but it doesn't fit in with the inherent, you know, tone and personality of the organisation. Now, language style here is an important part, and ensuring that you identify, you know, the common psyche and personality of your employee base. And I know there may be many, but the key is to distill it down to a top 3 that you are going to consistently portray, consistently use in terms of your tone and personality. So it may be, for example, is it a youthful type of personality or tone? Cynic, or could it be serious, or are you more caring? Or, you know, you want to be portraying a more intellectual tone and personality. You know, the common threads must connect across as much of your content as possible. So for your workbooks, tone and personality is step 1. Okay, step 2 is your content types. Now, this is selecting what types of content you will use to achieve your objectives. So a part of my upcoming program is getting really clear on your objectives so you are able to determine the right content types. So when I say what content types, so what do I really mean? I want to remind you at this point, whilst I think of it, is my bonus and gift to you if you stay to the end of today's training will really help you be right across content types. So there's over 40 content types to keep your content engaging and raveable. So I'm talking about the ultimate social recruitment contagious content planner tool. So stay to the end for that. But the content types are how information within and about your organisation, or it could be any information really that you want to use as content, it's how it is structured. So a common example is how-to based content. The content type I'm delivering to you today is a how-to based content type, you know, how to create an irresistible social recruitment strategy. So other types you may be familiar with are types such as testimonials. They could be interviews, case studies, data like fast facts, demos, demonstrations, quizzes. So there's a whole range of different content types you can use to portray your content or information. A resource you get in the Blueprint program is it's an exhaustive list of content ideas targeted for candidate attraction, and it's truly an indispensable tool for creating really unique content. Okay, so we're at step 3, and step 3, or the key step for creating contagious content, is content categories. So it's planning what content themes will be used. For example, using a time-based theme. So what I mean by that is, will your content be based on historical factors, or might be historical information about the organisation or key people within the organisation, or historical things about the industry or the profession or whatever? Or you're going to be talking about current issues, or is it going to be a future-based theme? You know, what is our industry going to be looking like in the future? So that is a time-based theme. Or you could have other types of content categories which could be more educationally based, or just could be just entertaining, you know. So will you use humour? You know, is it going to be a humour category, and will you target emotions? And will you mix these categories? Because you absolutely can, you know, mix these categories. That's getting into a bit more advanced content, but knowing how to do that is really, so it comes off very well, done, and comes off being done very well, is quite important. So there's a lot to think about here, and this is where you really get into the power of communication, when you effectively use categories for your content. Another category to consider is called the promotional category. It's probably known as event-based recruitment, where you create an event like a contest. I spoke in video 3, the Maven Talent Hook, where we discussed that amazing hot new tactic of how to use mavens in the industry to shine the light on your organisation. And I showcased an organisation called Atlassian, who used an event-based recruitment tactic, a promotional recruitment tactic called "We're Stealing Your Geeks." And they put a big sign up on the side of a bus in London, a big sign that said, "We've come to steal your geeks," or "We're stealing your geeks." And they attracted over 1,000 applications through that promotional category of that content. Google is known for doing another one where they put a big billboard example of a complex code or a formula, and they had a little website where it said, if you can crack this code, or if you know the answer to this formula, go to this website. And applicants who figured it out and entered the right answer into the website were contacted and then invited to apply for their specialist positions. So there are examples there. Okay, moving on to step 4, and we're talking about now is content formats. The 4th step to creating contagious social recruitment is determining what content types and categories will be, how they will be delivered. I'm not talking about social media platforms here, but content formats such as they could be blogs, webinars. So I'm doing a webinar format now for my how-to content type, okay? Other ones are articles. You could create an app or some tools, images, slideshows, and of course, video. Now, video really is an area that can no longer be ignored in any recruitment strategy. They can be so easily created and shared now through smartphones and tablets, and they're not expensive to produce anymore, and they don't take long to create, but they can be highly, highly powerful influencers. So content distribution is the step of planning how you will distribute your content, and I am talking about platforms here, but not only about what platforms are best for your candidate targets, but also the mix and the frequency is vitally important in this step. There's a real move coming down the line with content distribution in 2015 as emerging trends around niching. Social networks is continuing to rise, and we're getting these small and niche platforms. For example, like the invite only Elo, and this presents some advantages for employers who know this and know how to use these niche platforms to their advantage. For employers of youth and teens, Facebook and Twitter have now been edged out by the exponentially growing Instagram as a platform of choice to consume their social media fix. So depending on your mix of employee base, you may be working with different content formats, types, categories to different platforms for different candidate categories and age groups. I was at a funeral yesterday, and I was talking to a very old family friend who was well into his 70s, and he said, "I've just discovered Facebook." And I said, "Well, you do realise, the growing age group for Facebook is the over 55s." Okay, so that's content distribution. Number 6 is your engagement plan. Oh, this is so important. The engagement plan, or lack of it, is one of the main reasons that social communities fail and fall over. And that's because there's no plan. It's a key step that should not be ignored. Having a system and a plan around how you will drive and manage interaction with your posts of content is critical for keeping candidates engaged and returning, and therefore, building trust. And so you need to determine how often you are going to be. There is a voice coming from what we call the narrator, representing your organisation, whether you're going to have a single narrator or whether you have many. Okay, once again, it interlocks with your step number 1, which is tone and personality. So with your engagement, the tone and personality needs to match. So what is being discussed and in your communities. Okay, and what calls to actions you are going to have within your dialogue. Now we're on to the final step, is response management. This step overlaps with step 6, but rather than communicating to your audience, it's about managing the response that is either to questions or more on the negative feedback or abuse, right? So one of the resources available to program participants is the social media communication and response plan template to help you plan your approach, so you know exactly what to do when you have a situation come up on your social community platforms, and how you can manage that, who's going to manage it, what's going to be, you know, responded, and how and when, all those kind of things. Okay, so they are the 7 steps of creating contagious employer brand content. So you can see they start to put your content and your approach into more of a system and a structure. Okay, so before we move on to part 3 of today's training, I just wanted to quickly make a reference to the 7 principles that form the core and the heart of the blueprint. And I want to stress the importance of having them in place. So I'm just going to activate the ebook there for you. Just give me a moment to have that activated for you. Here we go. Display the offer. There we go. The 7 principles of a magnetic social recruitment strategy. So you can download that ebook, and where you can get them all. And there are some great case studies in there on these. But I just wanted to pluck out one that is most important. You know, I found it hard to separate out just one, because they are all so important and they depend on one another, and they are in a way crucial to have in place before, not in a way, they are crucial to have in place before attempting anything. You must have these locked in, because without them, everything can fall down like a house of cards. Glossing over or sidestepping these can lead to a world of pain down the line, believe you me. So by the way, there is space in your workbooks for the 7 key principles. So when you download the ebook, you can complete the masterclass workbook with them. But the most important one I'm talking about now, that is at the core, is commitment. If you are not committed, how can you expect the best talent to commit to you? A lack of commitment to your social recruitment branding, it's a telltale sign to top talent that you're not worthy of them, frankly. Best employers only hold their place amongst the elite by remaining committed. They don't have difficulty in finding good people to hire, because they are committed to being committed, and they work on these 7 key principles. Commitment becomes a challenge for organisations when one of them or more of some of these factors or following factors are present. And up here on the slide here, I've got here that, you know, commitment starts to shake when there's a lack of a compelling vision or a reason for doing something. Commitment is shaky when there's inadequate knowledge or resources. It may be a lack of trust or poor structure or planning, and you know, weak support mechanisms. It often is when we meet with obstacles and we avoid or fail to overcome them. So you need to ask yourself now, or take a look around in your organisation and go, well, which one or combination of these is preventing us from committing to moving forward and joining those other organisations who have broken through the challenges of finding good talent? Now, is it a lack of compelling vision? do you struggle with getting really clear on how social recruitment branding can help your organisation? Is it that you just don't feel you know enough, or you know how the successful companies are doing it, and you just need to get that knowledge quickly and easily? It may be that there just isn't anyone in your talent acquisition team that has this expertise right now, and all you need to do is get it so you can just move forward. So at the core and the heart of the HR social recruitment blueprint are these principles, but mainly it's your commitment as a change agent within your organisation. So you are here today in this masterclass through your commitment to learning how you can attract top talent effortlessly by developing an irresistible social recruitment branding strategy. So stick with me, because I want to show you now the blueprint process, the formula of how you can do this. And what I'd like you to do now is I would like you to come with me, and I want to show you the structure of how to develop your irresistible social recruitment branding strategy. So you can listen in, but if you're in front of your computer right now, I know some might be on mobiles, and you can access this page, but I want you to come on over to a page with me, which is www.theultimatesocialrecruitmentblueprint. So join me here at www.theultimatesocialrecruitmentblueprint. Now, some of you may get a video that starts playing. So just press pause or stop, and you can come back to that later. So I'm just going to join you on this page. I'm going to bring this over to the page. Okay, so if you, so here there's just some pieces and there's just some elements on this page that I want to show you that outlines the steps to putting together the structure and the strategy that leads to the transformation, in the recruitment results that you want to get. And if you scroll down, you will come to step one. But one of the things I learned years ago that came along with my own quantum leap in success in turning around this situation where I was just desperate to find good talent. I was in a place where you may be now, and where I was with an unknown organisation, but we were showing real promise and growing fast, but I just couldn't find the candidates with the specific technical skills for the advanced technology and the software our company was developing. The best engineers and software developers were locked in by the big guns in the industry, and I had this really awkward, the heart-pumping type meeting with our CEO, where I found myself having to explain the situation of 90-day plus open positions, and we had around 40 to fill. And the hiring managers were complaining with the candidate quality coming through and the time lag, and because they were being impacted by what they could deliver and their timeframes as well. And while some of the managers were really nice about it, God knows what they were saying behind closed doors. And then there were the other managers who were playing games by trying to go around HR and find their own talent. And I know many of you seriously know that and face that. But it was so uncomfortable and stressful, and when it came down to it, I felt like the CEO was shining a spotlight on my performance as a leader. And I was sure, in that moment when he was sizing it all up, in the balance of whether my job was on the line or not. But to cut to the chase, the paradigm shift that turned an almost jobless situation around for me was that I learned to develop a marketing mindset. And the catalyst was a chance discussion with our marketing manager. And you know, she was also challenged with marketing a small unknown company. And the light bulb went on because I realised that we were trying to do the same thing but with just a slightly different audience, with a different need and a different desire. And I learned at that point, I went, right, I need to learn everything I can around key marketing principles. And I started to apply them. And over time, our dependence on recruitment agency fees reduced, and candidates were coming directly you know, to us and through employee referrals. And I was able to turn it around. You know, the drought had ended and we enjoyed constant top talent on tap. Now, the company I'm talking about is Citrix Systems, and which is now like a $2 billion organisation with, I think, about 10,000 employees. And you are probably using one or more of their technologies right now. And so I managed to repeat this over and over in many organisations who were struggling with being known and attracting top talent. And even, you know, even highly known organisations who were getting a lot of candidates but needed the right people applying. So on this page, if you have joined me and you're on www.theultimatesocialrecruitmentblueprint.com, I want to show you how you can turn your situation around too, even if you are being overwhelmed with too many unqualified candidates, and change it to a manageable level of quality. So I want you to scroll right down past the video and keep going until you come to a purple box that says step 1. Your social temperature. Is your organisation social ready? Now, I want to show you the steps in here, and what's really cool is I've got them all here in writing for you. So you can grab your workbooks and fill in each step later, but it also does, you know, this serves as my offer to you, you know, my invitation to join me and do this, you know, to learn this and know it, to have a plug and play system ready to go to get your employer brand message out there and attract the best that resonate with it. You know, in such a way that you start to create a rumbling, you know, you are creating a community of people who really dig you before they enter the gates. Now, the thing is that this program is designed to be up and running within, to get you up and running within 90 days, which is why I say 90 days to top talent on tap, because, you know, what happens is if you don't do it now, you put it off. I know how it is. You have all the great intentions, and when you just get sucked back down into the vortex of distraction and new things come up. And it's like with your hiring managers, you know, whoever screams the loudest gets heard, right? And then you're off on another direction doing something else, and you never get to that vision. The funny thing is, it's like a chicken and egg thing. If you don't have this in place, you don't get better candidates coming through. So you keep struggling with trying to find them, and hiring managers continue to blame you, and you're still relying on expensive recruiters, and you and your team, they just burn out from the chase. And I've seen that many times. Many teams burn out. So this is really like a build it and they will come scenario, but it's very low cost and low risk. It's crazy the success that some organisations are having with this pull marketing reverse recruitment approach. So here an example of what you'll get in this comprehensive virtual training, but it's also the 5 steps you need to take to pull together a social recruitment branding strategy you need to start turning those tables on. So you will see the first step you need to start with when creating your structure is to check your social temperature. So this is like an audit phase. And the key to implementing any system is to lay the foundation. And you need to level it out, right? First, if you're building a house, you need to level it out and have a strong base and a strong foundation. You need to ensure that you minimise your risks now, so down the track you don't have any obstacles or challenges that will test your commitment. We talked about commitment being tested previously. So this is about getting the troops ready by knowing what their fitness level is, so to speak, before you charge away with implementing a social recruitment branding strategy. It's also about getting the right mindset in place for this to become a success for you. You know, you need to understand the collective mindset at all levels around social media within your organisation, because it can make or break your strategy. So the other parts to this step is laying the foundation for your social recruitment branding content. And that starts with knowing, well, who are you creating it for? Well, it's the candidates, obviously, but I'm going to show you a formula for a candidate profiling system that helps you identify who you are really focusing on. And it's not like just saying, well, we need candidates with these skills or this experience. We go really deep on candidate profiles, and it's a marketing technique that reveals what content you need, so you are creating targeted content that attracts the right candidates and repels the wrong ones. And so you are creating content for each one of those points of the diamond of commitment. So if you scroll further down to step 2 in the structure, to create your social recruitment strategy, and that is to set your social recruitment branding altitude, which is the defining phase. So what do I mean by this? This is where you determine how far you want to take your organisation. So sure, you can whack in a social recruitment branding strategy after this training and say, okay, well, this is it. Or you may set your sights on being the elite of the elite. Where does your company want to go with this? Do you want to be creating an award-worthy social recruitment branding platform? So in this step, you're going to get crystal clear on what your compelling vision is, okay? What outcome your vision provides for the organisation. And I'll take you through a process of getting granular detail on exactly where your social recruitment branding strategy is going to take the organisation. So you need to start thinking, well, what is that destination? Of course, the one that's as plain as the nose on your face is better quality candidates, lower recruitment costs, faster turnaround time. But we get a vision, and we get you to exactly articulate it in a way that is highly compelling and irresistible. Also in this step, you need to define your social recruitment goals and your KPIs. And knowing what is realistic and what isn't realistic is really quite helpful here. Seeing how other organisations set their altitude through case studies helps avoid wasting time and risk of the program falling over. And this is what we cover in my program. And the beauty is, when you sign up now, I will be leading this live online through the virtual HR social recruitment branding blueprint program. So it's an online moduled course plus 5 calls with me, where you will go through the training and then you'll come to the calls, and I'll be able to answer all of your questions, and you'll be able to hear the questions and learn from other participants who are taking committed action and who ask questions that, trust me, I mean, you didn't even think that you would, you didn't even think to ask, and you will be so glad that you heard. So that's the first 2 steps in creating a social recruitment branding strategy. And we do some pre-work here in the program. There are some pre-course exercises that help you get clear on how your organisation is engaging with social media in a broad sense at the moment. So you create a clear snapshot. It's like a 1-pager of the penetration of staff and management on social media that helps you know what kind of house cleaning you need to do before the candidates arrive to your content. Now, this feeds into steps 1 and 2 because it serves as an indicator of where you'll be starting from and what your vision, your goals, and therefore your KPIs around the strategy will be. And this exercise, it makes it super easy for you. So many people have said to me, well, God, I wish they'd known how to do this before they launched out. You see, because what they did was they just started creating content without doing steps 1 and 2 and 3 first. And that's because they didn't know it. So further scrolling down into step 3 is creating your social recruitment branding tactics. Now this is the planning phase. So we've locked in the principle of clarity. Oops, I just gave away one of the other principles, 7 principles. The principle of clarity with steps 1 and 2. And we are moving into putting the pieces together. So let me give you an analogy here. If you say you have a vision of, you want a Ferrari, okay? That's what you want. But at the moment, you've got the bicycle or perhaps a standard car. You can't make a Ferrari out of a bike. So we need to start getting the parts, you know, the mechanics of what, and you know, what you need to know for the right parts to go together and the right parts to get. You know, what are the right nuts and bolts that need to go with each other? So step 3 is understanding which social recruitment tactics, platforms, what your tactical KPIs are going to be, and what, you know, what tactical KPIs matter for your organisation. You know, I'm seeing a real flock mentality happening out there because organisations simply don't know how to do this for their unique situation. You know, so they're copying. It's kind of like the blind leading the blind and going around in circles. And if, you know, you need a guide dog. And if that's me, great. But, you know, please stop copying without knowing why you're doing it. You need to move out of this flock mentality so you're able to rise above and be seen by your ideal candidates. Otherwise, they just see much of the same. And those of you who know me know my passionate dislike for the Nerf gun fight video, okay? It's copied to death and everyone does it. And, you know, like the principle of quality, oh, I've just given another one away. The principle of quality is people recognise quality. They recognise a well put together, connected and executed strategy. They also recognise a mishmash of disorganisation and half-bake, okay? So step 3 is to know what the tactics you need to take on various platforms. They're not all the same. And the biggest mistake a lot of organisations are making at the moment is that sawn-off shotgun approach with the content, you know, just splattering it everywhere. So remember I talked about making the elegant moves that make the difference. This is where we get to the core of those elegant moves. And in step 3, I show you the tools and social media management technology that make your execution elegant, easy and effective. And when you sign up, the resource for this module is my Ultimate Social Recruitment Tools Resource Guide. It's packed with over 50 social recruitment branding tools for content creation, distribution, management, monitoring and analysis. It's got it all. It really is the toolkit you need for everything. Okay, so step 4, building a robust and sustainable recruitment branding strategy. So this is your monitoring phase, but it is planning to build in sustainability into your strategy. And, you know, the only way to know something will be sustainable is by measuring and monitoring and analysing your performance. So step 4 to your structure is to determine and develop the right metrics, and starting with knowing what budget you need and how to budget for a social recruitment branding strategy. I share with you the 6 key budget item areas for an end-to-end social recruitment branding strategy that you need to consider and know to create your entire budget. And I cover off some of those hidden budget items so there are no holes and blowouts that can potentially leave you with some hard explaining down the track. You know, one of the most difficult things in this stage of your strategy is knowing what metrics you should focus on. I know how it is. I mean, there are 1,000 different formulas flying around in social media on, you know, what kind of formulas and metrics you should be applying. But in my program, I distill it down for you in a very easy and digestible way that focuses on what the 4 key metric categories you need to monitor for each stage of that diamond of commitment that we were talking about within the blueprint. If you remember the diamond of commitment, it's that each stage the candidate goes through of being aware to knowing you and then engaging and committing. But most importantly, at this point, I help you identify the metrics that actually provide economic value, which are the most important figures for your HR leadership, which is return on investment. So upfront, to sell this to senior leadership and get buy-in, you need to be able to say straight out, this is how I will be determining the return on investment for this strategy. These are the areas that we will be making savings on and a return, and this is how I'm going to reinvest the savings for a greater bottom line return and profit. I want to make this easy for you because it is easy when you know how. But to make it even easier for you, when you sign up for the program, you'll get my hot resource, which is the HR Social Recruitment Branding Budget Planner. If you don't know where to start with your budget or figures, and your figures do your head in, it's all done for you. It's just plug in some variables that are unique for your organisation, and presto, the budget is done, okay? Right, so we're at step 5, which is building a magnetic content strategy. And this is where the rubber meets the road. I mean, we are in execution phase at step 5. So everything before this is setting up your strategy. Now it's implementations time. Excuse me. So you're on the dance floor now. You're in the competition. But you need to know the right techniques to carry off a flawless performance, okay? Now, here's where your employer brand message, your employee value proposition really gets its, opportunity to shine. But it has to be done through a carefully crafted structure and technique that ultimately influences your candidate audience to do what you want them to do. So I took you through the 7 key steps to contagious social recruitment or employer brand content in our training today, and that's what makes up a part of the step in this program. And we will go into this in a lot more depth. So what you will learn are the mistakes companies are making with their social media content, and what you need to be doing to avoid these mistakes. And ensure that you are making the most optimum impact with the time and effort you are making. We look at various case studies of companies who are doing it brilliantly, and we deconstruct examples of content so you can see the structure. If you're spending the time and effort, you might as well do it right? This also echoes that principle I slipped before, which is quality, which is not only a principle, but I'm willing to bet for many of you here today, it's one of your company values. So I will also show you how to create premium content and give it winning structure by also teaching you the 7 key principles of content anatomy, which you can apply across all your content types, no matter if it's video, slides, articles, posts, visual content. It's crucial that you have these 7 key principles of content anatomy, which within them have the psychological triggers that incite a certain influence and action from your candidates. So the other thing is knowing what triggers to embed in your content to make it highly shareable. So I cover off the virability factors that give your content that unfair advantage. So I guess you're wondering, well, how do I do all this? You know, how do you show me how to find out if this is the right thing for our organization, and how do I get our leadership and employees ready for this? You know, are they ready? Are we positioned for it? How do I know what our vision should be and what's realistic, and what level do we need to be performing at to make this all worthwhile? And what goals make sense for our organisation? How do I create this in a way that hiring managers will love? And how do I deliver better quality candidates to them through this strategy? You know, are we using the right social media platforms for the right purposes? And how can I tell if content is quality or not? And how will I know what metrics are right? So ultimately, you may be wondering, well, how do you help me really make this all happen? Well, how we do it is through the HR Social Recruitment Branding Blueprint on the virtual online program. And, you know, you can scroll down and see the dates if you are on the pages here. And it's getting started really soon. And we'll send you the pre-work right away. So as soon as you get registered, you get the accelerated training straight away, and complete with worksheet exercises so you can get started right out of the gate. But you'll also get our HR Social Recruitment Branding Blueprint planning brief to help you start planning what you need to do day to day and week to week and month to month to keep you on track, so you can pull it all together. Now, you're going to get online access to the HR Social Recruitment Blueprint Training Centre, so you can work through the program modules, and in addition, you're going to be invited to work with me live online for our HR Social Recruitment Blueprint program. So we all get together for 5 sessions like we are now, and you'll be able to ask me questions and say, hey, am I doing this right? Or I'm struggling with getting a vision that's truly inspiring. You know, should I be considering Pinterest or Instagram as a platform? And what happens if we don't? Or, Anne-Marie, I'm worried about creating vulnerability in our content, because isn't that going to turn candidates off? You know, how do I do that in a way that is effective? Or we want to create our own videos. You know, what's the best way to do this? You know, some things you may not know about me is that I actually have qualifications in training in video production, and I have a background from many moons ago in film and television. So I understand exactly many aspects of this, and so you can pick my brains here on anything you need to know within the program. And you get to become a part of an elite community of HR Social Recruitment Blueprint graduates. So to really help you get this over the line and make this possibility an absolute reality, I know that with many of you in HR that your vision can get stuck as just your own vision. You know, sometimes the biggest problem and breakthrough you need to make is to get everyone else in the organisation on board and to love this as much as you do. Believe me, I know. I've been there. You know, to make the transformation that you absolutely know is within your reach and possible, but you just need to, you just need to get senior leadership to get it. Right? So to help you with this, there is a bonus module. There's a 6th module, which is ensuring leadership and stakeholder appetite and attraction. So, you know, in my business, I've had to gain buy-in countless times over and over the years. And, you know, in what I was doing, you know, I was doing this to win business. You know, my income depends on being highly skilled at knowing the key tactics that influence even the most cynical CEOs and leaders. So I share with you my 5-step formula for structuring how to gain buy-in from the key stakeholders who can make or break your vision from becoming a reality. You know, the coolest thing that is this formula can be applied and works to anything you want to get buy-in for any part of your HR strategy. So this module alone, even if you're not going to do the rest of it, this module alone is high value. But on top of that, to make it super easy, I'm going to go all out to help you get this over the line, and you will get the ultimate buying tool, which is my business case to business value professional expert business case template. I have won hundreds of thousands of dollars of business with this template, and it is fully tailored with studies, research, evidence, and social proof, all to back up your social recruitment branding vision. It's carefully crafted and designed to manage many of the objections that come up time and time again, you know, so it's all laid out for you. All you need to do is pop in some unique company information, put your logo on, and you're ready to sell it like a pro, okay? So you can see that this program is for sale at any time throughout the year, and it's $2,997. So you can certainly pop in and grab it any time, but right now, today, it's available because I want to get an awesome collective of those of you who are ready to make a massive difference and understand the value of creating the unfair advantage for yourself and your organisation, and actually take you live online through the program. So you get access to me and the benefit of learning with your peers and hearing their journey that adds value to yours. And this is not a program I run live every month or even every quarter. This is the time. So when you invest today, you're making a saving of $1,000. So it's $1,997 to grab this unfair advantage for your own learning and become the expert in social recruitment branding in your organisation, and to lead your team to uncharted success. So again, you get the online access, and we'll walk through it together over the next upcoming 12-week period. The 5 modules are spaced out, so you're not overwhelmed. You can work on it, and you will see that it's called 90 Days to Top Talent on Tap, and that's because it is possible to get your strategy together, ready to roll within 90 days, if you want to. If you don't want to, and you want to have open access to the program for a minimum of 1 year, if you can't start it now, it's complete with all recordings of everything. So that includes the bonuses, the extra module of ensuring leadership and stakeholder appetite and attraction, and my business case to business value, professional expert business case template. So I just want to check in now on questions that we may have. It's because we're at question time now. Let's see. Okay, we have a few questions. Just having a look through. Okay, here we have one here. What if we have no social media recruitment presence at all and we are just starting out? Okay, I'm glad you asked this one. Who's this from? Okay, Kate S. You are in a great place for this now, Kate. If you haven't a social media recruitment presence at all, you actually have the advantage of not having to unlearn or unravel, you know, what you may have known about having a social recruitment presence, because it can kind of lead you down a deep rabbit hole. You know, I don't want you to go out there and chase every bright, shiny object, which I see so many people doing, because I can see that their social recruitment branding approach is disconnected and it lacks structure and systems. You know, this program is the one tool that will empower you to build it perfectly from the ground up, you know, by learning the mistakes to avoid before you can make them, and seeing the case studies of how others have achieved success and enjoy higher quality candidates and have lowered their recruitment costs. So in a way, it's actually probably to your advantage if you don't have a social media recruitment presence, because you get to do it the correct way from from the start. It's a bit like the third pig in the story of the 3 pigs. Okay, next question. Let's have a look. Okay. Okay. We have been developing our employer brand content online for some time. Does this mean we have to scrap our content and start again? Oh, okay. My answer to that is no. Straight out. I don't recommend you scrap it initially. But Module 5 shows you how you can salvage what you have and tweak it to make it a big difference over time. So you can increase the quality of your content. So you can, you can also reassign and reuse existing content in differing formats with a stronger structure. So you can just then seamlessly retire existing content, at the right time. So no, don't scrap your content straight away. You just build your quality in over time. Okay. Okay, here's another one. We really struggle with coming up with what is unique about our company. Okay, we are a financial services organisation, which is not really interesting upon which to base any exciting content or stories on. What kind of content can we create? Okay, I love this kind of a question. I think this is an area that many companies struggle with. And HR people, because typically we don't have a marketing mindset, but this is where I come in and I help you. In Module 1, there is a resource that will really be helpful for you. That is a 50-point SWOT planner. It lists 50 organisational strengths that I'm absolutely sure you would have at least 10 to draw from that can form the basis of content. The thing is, it's like we can't see the wood for the trees. We often don't see what our strengths are, and that is where an external pair of eyes and advice can be the difference between, like dull and dazzling. Plus, in Module 5, there is a resource list of 30 unique content ideas that rock, and they're quite different. So that will really help you too. Okay, I'll just do, I'm just having a look. Okay, I have one here. I am an HR business partner in my organisation, but not responsible for developing the recruitment strategy. I'm not sure my manager would see this as useful for me. Okay, I'm just going to check if there's any other questions too before I get onto that one. Okay, actually, this is kind of fairly similar. What is the most effective angle to pitch this to my boss? How can I make her see the value of attracting rather than recruiting? What if she thinks will attract the wrong type of attention? Okay, well, there are a few things to consider here. They're kind of similar questions, those ones. First, I'll address the first one. If you are responsible for any recruitment or as an HR business partner, this will be of value to strengthening your expertise, especially if there's no one else in the organisation that has it. It may be the open door opportunity for you to step up in the future and drive a project with this knowledge. Companies are looking for HR talent that has this contemporary expertise, so perhaps you could position it with your manager as a career direction development area. That's one way to do that. There is at the bottom of the page, the ultimate social recruitment blueprint.com, a resource there for you, an approval letter and a program guide. So you can download those if you need to sell this to your boss, you want to do it. If you don't have anything to do with sourcing or attracting candidates, well, you can probably forward this to someone in your organisation that does. One of the ways to approach it with management is when you are recruiting and getting the right quality of candidates, you start the type of focus and attention and work that you are doing as an HR professional starts to shift from being reactive to proactive. And I know this because I've done it many times, and the aim is to get from reactive to proactive as quickly as possible, because when you're just trying to recruit and you're getting the poor quality coming through, you're still on that rat wheel of being reactive. When you start getting the higher quality candidates coming on board in your organisation, it really shifts. You're doing less reactive stuff, okay? So, you know, the value of attracting rather than recruiting is that you are going to be getting the higher level quality, and it then has a greater impact down the line on what you're able to focus on as an HR team. You start to be able to be doing more proactive strategic work, which I'm sure your manager will be a lot more interested in than constantly having to, what I call clearing away the sand on your desk of all those little reactive issues. Okay, so that is my offer to you today, and you can get yourself registered for the upcoming Social Recruitment Branding Blueprint program starting soon. That's the 5 modules online with the 5 live calls, plus the extra bonus module to gain leadership and stakeholder buy-in, including the all plug and play resources, templates, checklists. So that's the Social Recruitment Digital Audit Matrix, the Recruitment Branding Blueprint Planning Brief, my done-for-you internal social recruitment temperature survey, my ultimate social recruitment tools resource guide. That's 50 plus tools to create, manage, monitor and distribute your social recruitment content. You get the Social Recruitment Branding Blueprint Budget Planner. So you just plug in and pop, your budget is created. The HR Social Recruitment Branding Blueprint Content Anatomy Checklist, and the Social Media Communication and Response Plan Template to help you manage, you know, any trolls or negative content comments that may impact your company reputation on your community platforms. So I invite you to join me, and it's $1,000 off right now. The full price is $2,997, but we can work on it together right now. And by the way, if you can't make the live calls through the program, don't worry. You can still submit your questions and have them answered on the calls, which will all be recorded. So if you're traveling or miss a live session, we have people on these calls from different countries and time zones, so it'll all be recorded, which you can access and download and catch up on and keep forever. It will be potentially a different platform, so you can hear each other ask the questions and the answers. So I'm just including everything I've learned here and in the blueprint structure. And you can see everything that is included here. So do yourself a favor and start making decisions. You know, just start making decisions. If you're not making decisions, your top candidates you want to attract aren't making decisions, and you are seeing the impact of that in your organization now, which is why you came today. You know, it's about being congruent with what you need to have happen in your organization. So if you're wanting the best candidates to move outside their comfort zone and make that shift to join you, if you are calling on them to trust you with one of their top priorities in their life, you want to be congruent with what you're asking of them if you are sitting on the fence on this right now and making that decision to join me. So be the change and create the change that allows the top quality candidates to step out and move forward to you. So that's what I have for you today. I'm going to go in now, and I want to thank you for staying with me. I'm going to release the content planner tool for you so you can get access to that. Yeah, and it's there for you. So you can just go down and register to the ultimate social recruitment blueprint.com, and you get immediate access to the pre-course work to get started this week, and $1,000 off right now from the regular $299 investment. So thank you for joining me today, and for the honor of being your teacher today, and for your time and presence to learn and inspire you to open up to the possibility of transformation that you want to create in your organization. You know, when you see the possibility right now, you have to cram a wedge in there, because when you step away, it disappears. And as strong as it feels right now, it goes away. So I'm inviting you to put in that wedge today, and the wedge is this structure and this strategy that I'll teach you. So let's get it done. let's get you and your team going and get you there. So I look forward to seeing you around the campus. I'm Anne-Marie Orick, and bye for now.